Yo, 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 what's good with it, y'all? It's your boy Lamborghini Preem back once again talking this boxing shit. And as always, be sure to hit up my official site, hustlegameboss.com, and check out my all new album, It's My Turn, the Throne Ascension LP. It's a motherfucking classic all the way around, you know what I mean? And so if you appreciate lyricism, you appreciate G shit, you're going to appreciate that, and you'll also appreciate me. So yeah, go ahead, check it out. It's also available on iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify, Tidal. Big shout out to Tidal. It's on YouTube, on Pandora, any outlet you so choose. You're gonna be able to find me. All you gotta do is search the Supreme General. Also, if you fuck with me the long way, make sure you go to hustlegameboss.com/shop and get you something off. Get you some of my official Supreme General merchandise off there. You know what I mean? I got hats, I got t-shirts, got hoodies. You know what I mean? Different kinds of hoodies, the zip up joints, the pullover joints. You know what I mean? I got them all. Got the onesies for your baby. Got the phone cases for your lady. You know what I mean? Got the phone cases for them thoroughbreds too. You know, they come both ways. You know, it go all the way. I got it covered all across the board. You know what I mean? So if you want to support, it's gonna be something up there that you like. You know what I mean? And of course, if you do cop something, make sure you post a pic of yourself either wearing it or, you know, bumping my shit, you know what I mean? A screenshot of your phone when it's playing or whatever, and tag me in it at Hustle Game Boss on Instagram, at Hustle Game Boss on Twitter, or just search the Supreme General on Facebook. You know what I mean? If you tag me in the shit and I see it, I definitely will show you love and repost it, you know what I mean? Because I really appreciate those who appreciate me that much in order to support. You know what I mean? It really means a lot to me. So with that being said, let's go on to the video. Now, this isn't my usual, you know, prediction breakdown type video right here. This shit right here is just my personal thoughts on the things that I'm seeing going on in the welterweight division. Now, right now, as it stands, the three champions at the welterweight division are Jeff Horn, the WBO / top ranked champion, and then you got what's the name? Errol Spence Jr., the current IBF champion, and of course Keith one-time Thurman, the unified WBC and WBA champion. You know what I mean? And they are ranked, in my opinion, as follows: Keith Thurman number 1, Errol Spence number 2, number 3 Jeff Horn. I mean, that's just personally how I feel about it. And now, don't think that because Jeff Horn is number 3 that I don't respect him. I do respect him. You know what I mean? He beat Manny Pacquiao. He is the champion. You know, it was a close fight. Personally, I felt like it could have went either way, so I'm not really mad with the decision. You know, some people feel like Jeff Horn lost or whatever, but of all the three guys, in my opinion, his skills don't match up. You know, on the highest level, they don't match up right now. You know, his resume don't really, you know, it doesn't, in my opinion, warrant him being placed any higher than number 3 out of these champions. You know, so that's why he's where he's at. Thurman is where he's at because his resume speaks volumes. He beat both Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia, and in my opinion, outside of the champions, those are the top guys at welter right now, with the exception of Lamont Peterson, who Errol Spence just beat. You know what I mean? And he's only number 2 because he hasn't had the chance to fight a Shawn Porter, a Danny Garcia, or Keith Thurman quite yet. So that, I just wanted to make sure I explain to y'all why my shit is ranked the way that it's ranked. Now, with that being said, you know what I mean? These are my thoughts. First thing, I don't like what Keith Thurman is doing, but I do respect it. You know what I mean? He's in position right now due to the fact that he's a unified champion. The unified champion, and the fact that he's beaten the top 2 guys in the division outside of Spence already. He's in position to call some shots. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, he was injured in his last fight. and he was injured a little worse than I think he let on initially. Initially we thought it was just some bullshit. Now I seen his interview where he said that his doctor was, kind of being very, very vague when it came to, explaining to him his recovery time and all that shit. And that's, that's what it is. He said it, so, this guy, I ain't gonna call the man a liar. We don't know. I just take his word for it as far as that go. But at the end of the day, it's been a year and you ain't been in the ring, dog. You know what I mean? And that's what people are more upset about. I don't think people are really that upset that he's not fighting any, that he's ducking so-and-so, ducking so-and-so. It's more that you're not in the ring fighting nobody, dog. And then when you're talking about coming back, which is this mysterious date sometime in the future, you talking about taking a cupcake fight first. Yeah, my bad. My bad, y'all. I hit the button by accident. So, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where that shit stopped recording, man. That shit it fucked me up. I was off on a thought tangent, but at the end of the day, the reason why motherfuckers is mad at Keith Thurman is because he's not active. And then when he says that he's coming back, he don't got no solid plans to fight no real competition. You know what I'm saying? And people is tired of that shit. Now, Shawn Porter doing what he did, I also understand that completely. You know what I'm saying? Because Shawn Porter is in a position where he done came up a hair short in his his top 2 level fights. Is the one against Thurman and the one against Brook. The Brook fight was close, but I believe personally he lost that fight. The fight against Thurman, I thought he won. And I felt like he should have got an immediate rematch before Thurman fought Danny. But I understood why he fought Danny, because Danny was the WBC champion, and that unification, that was the smartest move to make. But Shawn Porter is still out here on the wayside. You know what I mean? He done fought his title eliminators, and he's the number 1 mandatory guy. And he's already done been waiting since before the Danny Garcia fight for this shit. So now here it is over a year later. And Thurman still ain't got back in the ring. And now when this motherfucker talking about getting back in the ring, he talking about fighting some cupcake fight and then, probably doing something else and not even fighting Shawn. You know what I'm saying? Or if he do fight Shawn, it might be next year and all this shit. And that fucks up Shawn Porter's ability to make money. You know what I'm saying? Because Shawn Porter is in position right now. He want a big fight. He want a fight that's going to pay him, secure his legacy. You know what I'm saying? He's only going to get that from what he's saying, from Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. And they both fucking around. Danny Garcia, he's fighting guys like Rios, which I believe he deserved to be able to fight a Rios because he just coming off a loss, his first loss ever, really. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, people can say what they want to say about the Herrera fight, and the Lamont Peterson fight, but them is W's on his record, so it's W's at the end of the day. You know what I mean? This is his first loss, and that first loss seemed to a lot of fighters, man, seemed to be so damaging and devastating. So I just want to applaud Danny Garcia on how he bounced back, but now that he done bounced back, I think you would think that he would want to fight at Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? Being that's, if you can't get Keith Thurman next, which you're not going to get because he got to take a cupcake fight to see where he at with his injury. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get a Keith Thurman fight, it's on the table. In my opinion, the only options for Danny Garcia right now, because the fans, we putting on that pressure, man. We ain't around for the fuck shit no more. So it ain't no more cupcake fights for nobody. You know what I mean? Even Shawn Porter, he had his Berto fight. Now, that wasn't a cupcake fight per se. You know what I mean? It was harder than expected, but because Berto ain't never no easy win. So, you can't just, discount his skills like that. Berto could fuck around and knock anybody out. He's one. Let's not forget Andre Beast motherfucking Berto. He ain't no motherfucker. He ain't no cupcake. He is not the same. Same thing with Brandon Rios, but Brandon Rios is a little bit more shop worn than Andre Berto, in my opinion. He was more, especially in his style as well, was it worked very well for Danny Garcia. But now that shit is over, everybody got their cupcake shit with the exception of Thurman. It's time to go to war. So what I expect to see, or if it doesn't happen, if what I say coming up after this doesn't happen, all y'all motherfuckers can expect to get shitted on by the fans more and more and more and more, because people respect is going down and down and down and down. Now, like I said before, I do understand why Shawn Porter don't want to fight Errol Spence. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And this is totally aside from anything else, as far as, like, you know what I mean, it's not like it's because Shawn Porter is scared and nothing like that. It's not about that. In my opinion, because I personally feel like Shawn Porter got a good enough, his style would really, you know, it would be an intriguing matchup against a guy like Spence. You know, I don't think it would be a given that Spence is going to, you know, do what he do to Shawn Porter. That's just my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? I said the same thing about Keith Thurman. Everybody thought Keith Thurman was going to knock out Shawn Porter. Wrong. You know what I'm saying? Shawn Porter has a unorthodox style, and a lot of motherfuckers want to call it ugly, but the fact of the matter is it's effective. You know what I mean? And he's super strong. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's just, you know, let me stay focused on what I'm saying, though. This is how the landscape should lay out. Keith Thurman should get his cupcake fight, and then after that, he should fight the winner of Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter. Now, that's kind of fucked up for Shawn Porter, because technically right now he's already the number one contender. You know what I'm saying? And it feel like he'd be taking a step backwards fighting a guy like Danny Garcia, but he wouldn't be, because it would be the big money fight that Porter is looking for. And he would be guaranteed that shot against Thurman next. I mean, even though he was supposed to be guaranteed after the Berto fight, the injury that the injury that Keith Thurman had and Shawn Porter had could basically fuck that up. You know what I'm saying? So now you're in a position where if you fight Danny, you can go on and get that shot against Thurman. Plus, you get a big money fight in Danny. Especially if you win, it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? And if you lose, you know, you're still in a real good position to make some more money after that. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what Shawn is looking for. It's time for him to get paid. You know what I mean? If Shawn was champion and he didn't get paid or respect, and then when he lost to Kell Brook, they dropped him totally off the goddamn rankings and just totally shitted on him. I do not like what the IBF did to my man Shawn Porter, man. That wasn't a good look. You know, I thought that Shawn Porter at least should have been maybe top 5. Maybe, you know what I mean? You lose your title, you don't get dropped totally from the rankings, man. I mean, come on. You look at some of them rankings, man. Every time I look at the IBF rankings for welterweight, it's always one dude that I know, and then the rest of the motherfuckers is just total randoms. You know what I mean? Like, most of these guys don't appear on no other sanctioning bodies rankings. You know what I'm saying? Just be some left hand shit. You know what I mean? So, and that's not to say that the people that they rank are not good enough. Because that's personally why I like all of the belts being like 4 different titles. I like that, because that means that 4 different guys all get a chance to be world champion. You know what I'm saying? Get a chance to put food on their table. Get a chance to see their dreams realized. You know what I'm saying? After putting in all that work. If one guy has the belt all the time, then he can only fight so many people. You know what I'm saying? And it's always going to be an open question as to who's the real champ. But that's neither here nor there. But that is the reason why I give Shawn Porter a pass for not wanting to fight Errol Spence. Just because alone, the way that the IBF did him dirty, man, I respect it. Because it's like, man, now I'm going to have to pay y'all hella bread for the sanctioning fee, you know what I mean, to get the belt. Then when I get the belt, you know, y'all going to be probably doing some more fuck shit. If he happens to beat Spence, that's, you know, because that's definitely not a given, you know. But if he somehow happens to beat Spence after that, then he'd be champion again. And you know they're going to pull some bullshit on him. You know what I'm saying? They might fuck around, pull a Tyson Fury, or like they did Tyson Fury, and make him have to fight his mandatory directly after that fight, to the point to where he can't get the Thurman fight. So he takes the Thurman fight and they strip him. You know what I mean? Which would make it all, you know, just a big fucking waste of time. I mean, of course, he'd have that W over Errol Spence, but he wouldn't have the title of world champion that he so richly deserves from beating a guy like Spence. Because you ask me, you beat Spence, man, you're good. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing I want to mention, too, to everybody if y'all listening. You know what I mean? As far as Thurman, Garcia, and Porter, and Spence. You know what I mean? If y'all all listening, the first one of y'all 3 that have the balls to fight Spence is going to realize that their career is going to last longer than everybody else's. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to respect you. Win, lose, or draw. No matter how you lose. You get knocked out, I don't give a fuck. I'm watching your next fight. I'm watching your next 10 fights. I don't give a fuck. Because I just got a lot of respect for dudes who jump out the frying pan into the fire, who take those challenges, you know what I'm saying? The high level challenges, you know? And that's why I'm not really putting no pressure on Shawn Porter especially. But even Danny Garcia, I'm not even putting no pressure on him to fight Spence. It should be Thurman. Thurman is the motherfucker that should be fighting Spence. Straight up. You know what I mean? E. Spence is a G, and I'm sure he will fight Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter, but he don't gain what he would gain fighting them that he would gain fighting Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? And I think that does play into it a little bit. Now, true indeed, I feel like Keith Thurman also has a style that maybe, just because he's so adaptive, reactive, he got a shot to beat Errol Spence. But in reality, Errol Spence will be correctly favored against all three of these guys, in my opinion. The closest guy that could beat him, in my opinion, is Shawn Porter. Second closest, Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? I personally think Danny Garcia might get stopped by Spence. And I fucks with DSG. I fucks with him heavy. But Errol Spence style is not right for Danny Garcia. You know what I mean? Danny Garcia rely a lot on timing. You know what I'm saying? He's not exactly, he don't move as much. You know, and when you don't move as much, that plays so well into Errol Spence's hands, you know what I'm saying? It could be just devastating. And I just don't think style-wise, personally, I don't think that's a good matchup. But, you know, it is what it is. These are all top-level guys, so you got to take all comers anyway, especially if you become champion, you know? So what I expect to happen is this. Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter are going to fight in the big money fight to become number one contender for Thurman. Thurman's going to fight his tune-up. I said this before in another video, I'm pretty sure, but even still, I got to reiterate it. Thurman's going to go fight his cupcake fight, you know what I mean, look good in it, and then come back and fight the winner of Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia. Then after that fight, Keith Thurman should fight Errol Spence. Byron's another fucking injury or some other kind of random left hand shit. But personally, I don't know, man. I just don't feel like I'ma ever see Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. It just feels like it's too far away. Like it's just not gonna happen. Yeah, I just don't. Personally, I don't see it happening. You know. But like I said before, I do believe one of these three guys is going to have to fight Spence. I see that. And I will immensely respect the person that does. And personally, I feel like, shit, man. To be real, I don't know. I don't know who it could be. I definitely expect it to be the loser of Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter. Whoever loses that fight, I think will end up fighting Spence, and then maybe we'll see the Keith Thurman fight after that. Like maybe, I mean, that would be good business. Just thinking off the top of my head, if I'm having a card and I got it's Keith Thurman versus let's say Shawn Porter win the fight. Keith Thurman versus Shawn Porter. You know what I'm saying? That's the big marquee fight. You know, that's the fight at the end. And then right under that, the co-main event, or just below that on the undercard, will be Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa, if Danny Garcia win. You know what I'm saying? He fight Keith Thurman in the main event, and then Errol Spence fights Shawn Porter in the fight before that. You know what I mean? And then do Shawn Porter, the winner of Errol Spence versus whoever that loser is, and most likely it'll be E. Spence. So Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman, or, you know, whoever wins that fight, you know what I'm saying, in a huge pay-per-view in the middle of next year, you know what I mean, or in the beginning of next year, you know, whatever. However, it's got to be laid out schedule-wise, because these motherfuckers only act like they want to fight once or twice a year now, you know what I mean. The only nigga I give a pass for that, personally, is Errol Spence, because this motherfucker can't find nobody to fight. Even his mandatory's ducking him, you know what I mean. Constantine Ponemarev was like, man, fuck that, man. I'd rather give up my ranking than fight this guy. And I'm just like, God damn. And treating E. Spence like he the Terminator out in this motherfucker, man. I love it, man. I love it. As a fan, I'm a fan of all of these guys, though. But I think, personally, my respect level is the highest for Errol Spence and Shawn Porter, personally. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Shawn Porter done got the shit end of the stick too many times in his career. You know what I mean? I wasn't always a fan of his, but as of late, man, I can't do nothing but respect the way he moving. Everybody bitching about him jumping in the ring. And Jim Gray got to chill the fuck out, man. He was right, but all that yelling and all that shit, man, I wasn't feeling that. That's just me personally, but I wasn't feeling that. Wasn't necessary. He got in the ring somehow. Somebody okayed that shit. That was higher up. So you ain't got to. Now he was right though. He was right. It was Danny Garcia night, and he shouldn't have had to deal with that. But at the same time, I just didn't like his approach. You know what I mean? I ain't like that shit. Left a bad taste in my mouth. But fuck it. You know what I mean? Because this is prize fighting. This is what niggas do. You know what I mean? You want that motherfucking money. You know what I mean? It's just like on one of my favorite movies from back in the day called The Great White Hype, man. You watch that shit, you see the dude, James Roper, that was Damon Wayans' character. You know what I mean? He was the champion shit. And then he had the other dude, the dark-skinned dude. I can't remember his name from the movie, but he kept running up on him. He wanted that fight. You know what I mean? He wanted that fight bad. And that's what you do if you really want to fight. Same thing Shannon Briggs did. The only reason Shannon Briggs had a whole rebirth because of calling out Klitschko. You know what I mean? Same thing David Haye did to Klitschko. If you're a legit guy, because that was the only thing Briggs was missing, man. If he was higher up in the rankings, fought his way to a number one contendership, man, he'd have been that would have been a fucking mega fight between him and Klitschko. The only reason I think it didn't go down is because of that. Personally, that's just my personal opinion. You know what I mean? But it's like David Haye did. He was a contender. He won a belt, off Valuev, and then he went at Klitschko head, because he really wanted that smoke. And I really think that, I know it ain't in Errol Spence's personality to do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But shit, even Erislan De Lara did it, man. Unfortunately for Errol, I know he ain't worried about none of these boys because they clearly don't want to fight him. But at the same time, man, he might have to crash some press conferences and do some shit like that. You know what I mean? Now, I seen his tweet. He was like, that shit lame. And I see what he's saying, because it looked, the way this shit went down looked very WWE or WWF or whatever, you know what I mean? It looked a little staged, you know what I mean? But I don't think it was staged, man, because Shawn Porter looked pissed. And I do believe whoever he fight next is getting their ass whooped. Even if he fight Danny Garcia next and it's a fucking good fight and Danny somehow win, he's still gonna get an ass whoop. That boy Shawn Porter not playing, man. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, he the only one I give a pass for not fighting Spence right now. But everybody else, I just, it's no excuse. It's really no excuse even for Porter. But because of the IBF, that whole fuckery, I get it. And if you're not going to fight for the belt, what's the point? You know what I mean? I wouldn't fight Errol Spence if I'm not getting no belt. You know what I'm saying? Or if I get the belt, they're going to be on some fuck shit and try to strip me and basically steal my money and shit. Steal that sanctioning fee. Fuck that. You know what I mean? The way the IBF moved with that whole Shawn Porter shit just really bothered me. So, I want to make sure I keep beating that drum because I don't hear enough people talking about that shit. It's a real important factor that people need to add into the equation when they assessing the fact that Shawn Porter would rather face Keith Thurman and them now. Because we saw it, man. As soon as he lost to Brook, he started looking in another direction because of the way it started off at the end of the fight when Kenny was complaining about the holding, and apparently the IBF didn't take too kindly to that, and so they dropped Shawn from their rankings totally. And he was just a champion, and if you're going to do that, and these guys are paying sanctioning fees, I respect them not wanting to fuck with you no more after that. So, unfortunately, by Spence being an IBF champion, that puts him in a bad way as far as that goes. You know what I mean? But Spence will get his. He will get his. And, oh, yeah. And the last person involved in this whole thing that nobody talks about is Terrance Crawford. But personally, I don't believe Terrance Crawford gets involved in this whole melee until it's whittled down to just one guy. until, Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter fight each other and then fight Thurman and Thurman fight Spence. Until all of that is cleaned up, I don't believe Crawford gets into this, because I believe Crawford is going to get the WBO belt, because I believe he's going to beat Jeff Horn. And when he gets the WBO belt, then him and whoever has the other 3 belts, because all those guys that have been fought by then and unified all 3 belts, that unification for undisputed champion at welterweight will be a mega fight. And it's also going to shatter the expectations, or not the expectations, it's going to shatter the myth that African American fighters can't sell when they fight against each other. That's a myth. I don't give a fuck. It's a myth. That fight is going to be a mega fight, because I believe a black person is going to come out, and no disrespect to DSG, because he damn near black in my opinion too, Ricans, they close, I got so many homeboys that's Ricans, we done came up the exact same way, so, I got a lot of respect for them. They not black, well they is black, they is black, so let's just leave that at that. We just look at it like this, because I personally don't think Danny is going to beat both Thurman and Spence. I believe Spence is going to come out on top of all this shit. And it's going to be Spence versus Crawford. And when that happens, it's going to be a mega fight. And then the other mega fight between 2 African Americans. Not 2 African Americans, but 2 black motherfuckers. 2 black people. Just say it like that. Anthony Joshua, my man. Big shout out Anthony Joshua. And Deontay the Browns Bomber Wilder. You understand me? Our motherfucking champion against their motherfucking champion. They both are champions, But, this shit right here, when it come down to it, man, AJ and Wilder is going to be a mega fight on pay-per-view too. And both of those fights are going to do huge numbers, do huge at the box office. And we're just going to have to respect that, Finally, we could put that, 2 African or 2 black fighters fighting each other and don't make money shit. We could put that shit to bed, because both of them fights is gonna make hella bread. I know I'm being lying to pay for them shits, E. Spence versus T. Crawford, and Anthony Joshua versus my man Wilder. Them is some mega fights. So with that being said, man, it's fun watching this shit all unfold, watching these niggas get called out, watching the shit, because the press used to be so like, they used to only throw these boys softball questions. Now they ain't playing no more. They in they face, like, man, I seen the one fan run up on Thurman. I'm glad too, because to be honest, man, Thurman, he loving this shit, and I can't blame him, because he earned it, but at the same time, it's like, I understand you feeling yourself, all the way around, but goddamn, dog, this is a sport, you gotta put that sport first, you can't always be on some other shit, you can't always, be on the Hollywood shit, because if you lose respect, it's a delicate balance. At the end of the day, you gotta come out of this shit with respect. You know what I'm saying? And if you ain't got no respect, the fans run up on you telling you ain't shit really, or not saying you ain't shit, but, they run up on you, ask you questions, and you giving vague ass answers. You're not really, explaining nothing, and they're not satisfied from your responses, I should say. That's more, more accurate. If they're not, if that's the case, then you're going to have to deal with a lot more fuck shit, and you're going to make a lot less money. You know what I mean? Because like you said, at the end of the day, this shit is about money. And like I said, competition matters when it comes to making money. You know what I mean? Fights where motherfuckers cannot tell who is going to win, or is not a huge favorite, or a one-sided like type of, setup matchup. You know what I'm saying? When there's options as far as that goes, then those fights sell a lot better. You know what I'm saying? They do better on the books with Vegas and all that shit. People more willing to put their money up. You know what I mean? Because you got something to believe in on either side, and you don't know who's going to win. When the shit is a foregone conclusion, basically, you know what I'm saying? When you're taking cupcake fights, that can't happen. And when you're doing that, you generate less interest. And less interest at the end of the day ultimately equals less money. So, I got to say this, though. people could say what the fuck they want to say, but we all talking about this shit. We talking about Shawn Porter running in the ring. We talking about the fan running up on Thurman. We talking about Thurman saying what he said to Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia and Porter and Spence. You know what I'm saying? We talking about this shit. So, you know, these boys is getting the attention that they looking for. And some of them so richly deserves in the case of Spence and Porter. But this shit is gonna be fun to watch pan out, you know what I mean? I'm not mad at nobody, honestly. I understand the reasons why everybody doing what they doing, so I ain't really tripping. But the fans is on their ass, man. The fans is on their ass, and it is fun to watch. You know what I mean? With that being said, man, we gonna have a couple super fights in about a year's time, and in between we gonna have some very, very, very good fights. You know what I'm saying? And I'm personally hoping that it's at least one upset. You know what I mean? That would make this motherfucker really shake up. You know, because we got some newcomers into the welterweight division that could shake shit up. In Devin Alexander, who is going to be a threat. He's going to be a threat. Now, do he far and away beat any of these guys? I don't think so. Maybe, maybe not. You know, we don't know. He's a threat, though. You know what I'm saying? And then, shit, that's really it right now, because everybody else, you know, I don't think they, you know, Lucas Matisse and all that shit, they ain't fucking with no Errol Spence or no Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? Matisse almost got beat by Karam. I expected Karam to win that fight, man. If he would have kept jabbing and stopped leaning in, he could have won that fight. You know, so I mean, it is what it is, man. This shit gonna get interesting, man. I'm gonna enjoy watching all this shit, and I can't wait for my 2 black fighter mega fights. Goddamn it, you know what I mean? Just for GP, just to let niggas know, you know what I mean? And we running this shit as far as, you know what I mean, the money go. We the heart and soul of this black and Latino fighters, the heart and soul of this boxing game. You know what I'm saying? Without us, this shit don't move. You know, and much respect to the white fighters too, cause I got respect. Don't get it twisted. I fucks with the white ones too. I fucks with Billy Joe Saunders. I never thought in a million years I'd be saying that, but I do. I think he's gonna be the next middleweight champion he already the middleweight champion in the WBO, but I believe that he might fuck around and beat Triple G. I know he beats Canelo. Although I think he has a harder time with Canelo than Triple G, though. You know what I mean? As long as he can move, Canelo shows you that if you can move, you know what I mean? You can move well. You got a chance with Triple G. And Kell Brook basically he laid out the blueprint on how to do it if you're gonna outbox Triple G, because he was outboxing Triple G. So I personally believe Billy Joe got a hell of a chance to be the next undisputed middleweight champion of the world. Also, Triple G is another one I fucks with heavy. You know what I'm saying? I also want to shout out Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? He's another one. He don't get the credit he deserves, but I feel like, man, this fight with Anthony Joshua is not a given, man. It's not a given AJ gonna win. I'm leaning towards AJ, obviously, but Joseph Parker could fuck around and win that shit. You know what I mean? So the sport is getting interesting, but I hate the narrative that they try to purport that black fighters can't sell no tickets, man. I just hate that. You know, I really want to see that going. So, you know, with that being said, I just want to let it be known. I ain't no, you know, just straight racist shit. Because I don't give a fuck really about that nonsense. You know what I mean? I'm not about that. It's about skills with me first. But when other motherfuckers make it about race and they try to down, especially my race, you know what I mean? I gotta speak up on it. You know what I mean? Black fighters, if you look down the list of pay-per-view, the highest grossing pay-per-views in history, they all black fighters, is in each and every one of those fights. It's a black fighter. You know what I'm saying? I don't think one of them on there is either just 2 Latinos or 2 white guys. I don't think it's like that. You know what I mean? It's a black fighter in each one of them fights, you know? And it's also white fighters, Spanish fighters, and you know what I mean? They there too, but they don't get the shit that we get. You know what I mean? They don't got motherfuckers out here saying, oh, 2 white fighters can't sell pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? They don't got that shit. So, you know, until I start hearing that fuck shit, I won't be doing no equal opportunity shit right now. This shit about black fighters, and I'm showing them love, and I want to make sure that they get it, you know what I mean, because they deserve it. So, With that being said, I'm looking forward to how this shit all pan out, and I'm going to holler at y'all. I'm on to the next one, 100.